Hello and welcome back to the Sanderland podcast. Today we are covering Oathbringer, continuing our coverage of Oathbringer, chapters 69 through 72, where our friends who are in Colina are preparing to go to a party. We get a bit of a glimpse into how these work outside the Shattered Plains, which was a little bit of fun to see how that's all set up. Kaladin meets High Marshal Azure, which apparently has the worst kept secret ever. We'll get into that. Another Dalinar flashback. A victory without bloodshed, which is nice for the Black Thorn. And Vale and her crew take on a new heist and another pretty scary death for Shallan, which is, I don't know how many more of these she's going to get. Anyway, I'm Jamie, and with me as always is...
Data,
Joe, and Dak.
So hang on to something, everybody. The Sanderlanche is about to begin.
Yearnings intertwined, the golden age in ashes once again. Under stirring stars, in the burning shards, kindle fragments of the falling rain. So look to the break of dawn, to the break of dawn. Stronger together now.
So yeah, 4 more chapters this time, and Shallan is experiencing a lot of deadly wounds lately. That must be taxing in the long term, I feel like. But anyway, what did you guys think of these 4 chapters?
Yeah, well, let's start there, shall we? Yeah, what's it, a crossbow bolt to the head? Oh my word! That's terrifying for everybody, not just Shallan. But I think it was really well done how it was written, like her speech slurring, and it was It was a lot. Visually, it was a very disturbing picture. I'm impressed at how much they're able to heal themselves. It's kind of like, at what point can you no longer heal from something? You're pretty almost invincible, right? Obviously, you can die. I'm sure that there are rules about that, and if you run out of Stormlight and stuff. But yeah, I would have felt like that would be a pretty permanent one, but evidently not. That's impressive. And the way the crew had to kind of just keep going and stuff, good on them. Vatha, that was hard work for you. I'm pretty impressed there. Overall, it's a good chapter. I liked the heist aspect. I thought that with Shallan playing Vale, playing a different version of Vale, playing it the lady of the house, the lady of the manor. I can't remember what her name was. It's like, I want to say Natan, but I know that's the place. But that's what it reminded me of. I feel like this is one of those times. Patton actually called it out and was like, "This is getting to you." I think don't and her internal model of going, "Don't let this one overtake her." This one felt different, and I don't know if it was just because she was embodying a person, not just a face. It was like there was a whole character that she saw when she was drawing and lots of stuff. So a little bit different there, but I hope that this storyline of Shallan and the taking on different personalities is sort of going to come to a head. So I'm keen to keep watching that. The other one, a Dalinar flashback, I got really excited when we got to 11 years ago again, and I was like, here we go. It's coming. We know what we're about to learn what's going to happen. We're here, and we're not again.
Nope.
Brandon, thanks. But it was good. I think it was a cool turning point, and it actually, we'll talk about it in predictions, but it's almost turning where I think the storyline is going for Evie and Dalinar. I liked that he sort of had taken on her advice and they managed to get a solution that worked for everyone without a whole bunch of people having to die. So that was maybe my favorite flashback so far. I think that was it just didn't go where I expected it to go, and I really liked it. Still going backwards. The High Marshal, I don't know why it's such a big scene. I realize it's sort of against the Alethi norm to have a female in that sort of position, but no one seems bothered by it. I don't know why it has to be a big secret. So we'll learn a bit more there. But a little nice teaser from Kaladin about maybe we found another Radiant. That would be cool. So hopefully we get a bit more of the High Marshal. And yeah, the first chapter was fine. We figure out what their plan is, who they're hanging out with. It's a lot of division, isn't it? You've got the lighteyes that are actually invited to the party, then you've got like lighteyes support, and then you've got dark eyes and
Yeah, I had the same thought. It's like they need like 5 different parties
Yeah.
to cover everybody.
It's hard enough planning one party. Imagine having to plan 5 parties, and I realized there's a team of people that would probably do it. And I also realized thinking about the logistics of setting up the party was probably not Brandon's intent. But that's where my brain goes. It's stressful enough planning 1, let alone 5. But it was cool to see sort of he's going to go and explore and see what the others are up to. And yeah, it was good. I liked it. I thought they were good chapters this week. I'm really excited for where this Dalinar stuff is going to go. I think it'll be, we talked about, this part really, it should move fairly quickly. And I think we are moving quickly, but there's a lot of cool, interesting things. And we're getting sort of exactly what I hoped for. Most of our story is happening in Dalinar. We're getting those Dalinar flashbacks, but the Shattered Plains and Urithiru storyline is kind of on hold for the moment. But yeah, the Dalinar stuff is really good.
You brought up something that I've been wanting to kind of touch on for a while, so I'm glad that you did. But the thing about like how much exactly can they heal? Because that does seems extreme to just be perfectly fine with a crossbow bolt in your head. Well, perfectly fine, not exactly. But we've seen some fairly impressive healing in the past from Ferukemi back on Scadrial.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've always found it interesting to compare these two. Like, how similar is the healing that these two can do, and is one better than the other? Like, can Wayne heal from more stuff than Shallan can, or can Shallan do better than Wayne, or whatever?
Maybe we need a crossbow bolt through Wayne's head to find out.
I mean, we've seen him get like exploded, and I think he talked about like having to grow fingers back one time or something.
Yeah.
But we know that they can like heal like lost limbs and stuff if you have a good healer in Stormlight, I think. Did we see that? Am I imagining that?
Well, didn't the Lopen grow back his arm or something as well? Like,
oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I was like, I know that we've seen that. Where was it? Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
The Lopen.
Yeah. And, we've seen Kaelin be able to restore his shard blade wound, like when he lost feeling in his arm as well. So, like, they're pretty powerful. I don't know that you can really say one's more than the other. I guess they both do pretty well the same thing, but by different means. I mean, eventually Wayne died.
Yeah.
So is that where you draw the
True.
line? Like, at some point when you're blown up on a ship somewhere, is that what does it? Like, you can't survive beyond that? I don't know.
Well, he was out of stuff, right? He was out of like ferrochemy
I
stock.
thought it was just that he got like atomized.
I thought he was atomized, yeah.
Maybe you're right. I couldn't remember. I wanted to say he was running out too, though, but maybe that's wrong.
Maybe
Well, 'cause
I
he
gotta
had
go
to
back and read.
use-
I haven't reread that one in a while.
He had to use everything he had basically to contain it long enough to get wax gone, right?
Yeah, something like that. I only read The Lost Metal the one time we read it. I don't remember.
Yeah.
I completely forgot he even had that ability. I was like, are you guys talking about Miles? Wasn't he the healer in that?
No, he was the
super healer. That's true. Yeah. Like he holds a stick of dynamite like in his hand and he's fine a second later. So that's a good point. Maybe
Compounder.
that may be more than like Stormlight healing. I don't know.
Yeah, but although Miles died, so
eventually when they took all his metal mines away,
they just kept shooting him until he had nothing left.
That's true.
It's like he's got to run out sometime.
I mean, they've both got more healing than I do, so I'd be happy.
Yeah, it's true.
I'll take what I get.
Either one, it's fine.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that we've seen these two examples now of like kind of extreme healing in the Cosmere, and it also makes you wonder, like, does that show up other places? Like, does other kinds of investiture, could it have that same effect? Maybe if it's a common thing.
Well, we saw in Elantris that I guess their bodies didn't go back to the way they were before the land changed. So, like, there are certain limitations to investiture of certain types, I guess.
That was a weird situation because they were stuck. The Elantrians were stuck in like that half state for most of it. So, yeah, I don't know. That's a good point. That
Do we
is
ever
kind of a
get
different
confirmation
aspect.
that after they kind of restore stuff, do new Elantrians look like them, or do they look more like original Elantrians? Do we ever find out?
I think that they changed how they changed and became the glowy original looking Elantrians at the end of the book.
Oh, I thought at the end Renarin didn't.
You mean Raoden?
Oh, sorry. Raoden. Sorry, there's too many R names in these books.
It's true, yeah. I think they did. And now I have to go. I haven't read Elantris since we read it. Probably I've read it
Yeah.
several times, but I don't think I've read it again recently. So
Yeah. Anyway.
yeah. Sorry. Also, you brought up the fact that nobody seems to actually care that Azure's a girl, but we still have to keep it a secret, which also struck me as very funny. Where they're like, all the guys like, shh, don't talk about it, and it's like, but you all know and clearly don't care.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you think somebody is going to come from the palace and be like, "Wait, there's a girl here"? Nah, get her out of here! Like, it's so.
Sense.
I mean,
It is weird that they feel they have to keep it a secret.
And maybe because a lot of you military people are at Urithiru or on the Shattered Plains, and she's ascended the ranks kind of under the radar. Like if people came back, would this be a problem? Or because she's so ranking and someone found out, is this a thing where it would be she would just be like sent back, or I don't know, told to do something else with her life? Maybe. I don't know. I'm so curious as to what the reasons are. We know now that there are female Radiants, like obviously Shallan and Yasna. So our character base is not having a problem with it, but there's not a lot of other authority figures around. So no one at the moment can tear that down. But if that secret got out, I imagine that there would be people that would not be happy about that. Yeah.
It's true.
Well, and Kolinar doesn't really know about the Radiant stuff. It doesn't seem like, at least.
No, exactly.
No, I don't think so. Not yet.
Yeah, these chapters were good. The flashback, I agree with Jamie, is probably one of my favorite ones. I could see the other. I kind of feel like the other shoe's gonna drop on that because Sadeas is involved supposedly, and we all know that the kind of parting of the ways between Sadeas and Dalinar doesn't happen yet. So that leads me to believe that something must happen in this flashback to either exonerate Sadeas to some extent, or something happens where Sadeas is not implicated, I would guess, but I don't know, obviously. But so I am excited to kind of see if we get a direct conclusion to that. But it is interesting that, like, he tried Evie's approach and it looked like it's going to work. So that was pretty neat for that flashback. Yeah, the party stuff was I kind of like see it from both sides. I understand they're working within the confines of their societal norms to try to like win people over via a party. And it's kind of a funny reflection of the first book in the Mistborn era. It's like they're using these noble parties or whatever. But at the same time, you also get Kaladin's side, which is just like, this is dumb. And then you also see his Bridgman side, where, like, I mean, we party with Adolin sometimes. He's like, you do? And they're like, yeah, man, he parties with us. So it's kind of interesting to see it from those different perspectives. And then, yeah, the Shallan stuff. It's always an interesting. It's always an interesting thing in any kind of fiction when there's some kind of supernatural healing at work, right? So like the thing that jumps to mind for me is like Wolverine in the X-Men, or any of the healing factor mutations, right? Different authors have, because of the way comics are, different authors have taken their turns with Wolverine and like basically put limits and then undid limits on his healing factor. So it's kind of like hard to know how it actually is supposed to work. I guess we'd have to ask the original creator of Wolverine to find out, but he has passed. And so, like, I don't really, it's one of those things. Like, the most ridiculous example I could think of was during Civil War when he like heals from an atomic blast as a skeleton. It's like, okay, well,
that's the one that always sticks with me too. Is
that doesn't make a lot of sense. Yeah,
fucking don't get me started.
That's right. Dax the X-Men expert here, so like he knows that it's pretty ridiculous. But and then also the other one that jumps to my mind is always Namekians in Dragon Ball Z. It's like they heal, but I feel like you see Namekians die, so there's obviously limitations on that. seems like they mainly heal limbs, not like full blown torsos or
Not unless
destruction.
you're Cell and somehow like supercharging the Namekian DNA.
Yeah, I don't
Oh,
understand how that
God.
works either, but again, it's plot convenience.
I mean, they directly contradicted Cell's one a few times, so it's let's not even look at that.
He's like, I can't be killed unless all my cells are destroyed. It's like, okay, all right, whatever.
But first it's like, as long as the nucleus in my head, and then his torso got obliterated, including a head, and like,
No,
make
it's
up your
fine.
mind.
Any cell that exists, I'm fine. It's good. Anyway, but yeah, I honestly thought like, were we close to Shallan's death? Like, if it had been a few inches over and it had like hit her cerebellum or something, would that have killed her? Like, does her brain need to be intact so that it can activate the Stormlight? Like, I don't know. But yeah, interesting. Always a kind of an interesting what if like thing to think about. It's like, how does the power work? Could she come back from almost anything? And if so, like that, how does that make sense? Because the Radiants certainly weren't. I mean, we haven't gotten the impression that the Radiants were invincible. The Heralds, I guess, are. I don't know. That's a whole thing too that we don't really know.
We know they can die. They just come back because Talon died, and that's why he's he was stuck wherever.
Right. So again, it's like we don't get a lot of explanation on that stuff. But I mean, plenty of Pharochemists died back in the Lord Ruler's day, so I mean, there obviously are limits to the powers. We just don't
with
not super
Pharochemy,
defined.
It's different, I guess, because you have to save up that stuff in order to.
You got to have the little object to save it up in. Yeah.
Yeah, with Stormlight, it's like it seems like as long as you keep having enough Stormlight, then you can heal a bunch of stuff. How like you said, we don't know what the limits are. We don't know if they chop off your head, are you healing that? Regardless of how much Stormlight you have. But it's interesting because the limit in both cases is like the investiture. Like, do you have that health saved up? Well, then you can heal a lot of stuff. Or the Lord Ruler supposedly healed from like getting flayed and head chopped off or something. That's what he claimed anyway when he was compounding health. So
yeah, but lovely chapters, good info, good. I feel like good story progression. We're getting little by little. I agree with Jamie. The Shallan stuff. I think we've been saying this for a while, right? The Shallan stuff's a little troubling. Like her transforming into these other people and then like their personalities like basically overtaking hers, and then like the weird like disassociative stuff where it's like Vale is worried about Shallan. It's like that. It's very hard to understand what is the power doing because Shallan's the only person that is a Lightweaver that we know of that we're the only. She's the only one that we're inside her head, right? So I don't know where the power begins and where like the Shallan mental issues begin. So it's kind of like it keeps being troubling, but I keep having to like say, well, maybe it's just the power. It's hard to kind of figure out what's going on.
We need some more Lightweavers for comparison.
Yeah, or at least for them to say, oh yeah, sometimes my personalities try to take me over too. It's crazy, right?
Yeah, imagine if that was like a side effect for all light weaving. Like that would not be the most fun. I don't know that I would want to join that group. If like I'll go be a windrunner.
You don't really get a choice. It doesn't sound like.
I mean, you got to take the oaths. I guess you could choose not to.
I guess, but that's another thing. I feel like, and maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like all of the powers have some kind of like negative side effect to them. They're not 100% positive. It feels like. But anyway, that's just the sense I'm getting from kind of being inside Kaladin's head and Shallan's head.
Yeah.
Dalinar is a little more new to his power, so there may not be as much of a downside to being Bondsmith, but maybe there is. I don't know.
True, he doesn't. I think we've only seen him do like the first oath and I guess the second one. So yeah, there's as he goes further, there could be more downside. Is true. I
mean, the downside could be there's an enormous amount of pressure on him, especially because apparently his ability is so rare, and his task as a Radiant is so heavy, and
he has to deal with the Stormfather, which is just a hassle.
I think he's getting used to the Stormfather, though. I think it's kind of a funny I think the relationship's starting to turn a little bit, and it's becoming kind of more interesting and fun.
But you and Jamie have both brought up kind of the party that they're having, and it reminded me that Brandon gets called out in the fandom sometimes because people are just like he can't write books without having these big fancy parties. Like in Mistborn, there's always these balls going on. In Stormlight, they're going to parties with like Elokar, a lot of the like in the first book at least, and now this one here. People are just like, man, Brandon loves these rich people parties.
Man, dude loves a good party. What do you want?
Like, Hero of Ages, world's ending, party's gonna happen. Why not?
Yep.
Yeah.
Why not?
Why not?
Hedonism bot.
Ew. Yeah. Yeah, the Azure stuff too. I kind of forgot to touch on that, but like the Azure stuff, it is kind of weird. Like they're like, she's a girl. Shh, don't say it, because she knows she's a girl, and so it's a little strange. But there's also something, I don't know. I wanted there to be something more insidious behind Azure, and so I'm trying to like fight that urge that like maybe she is just like there doing the thing and helping the people. You know, maybe that is what's going on, but I almost feel like there's something else going on there. I just don't know what it is.
Everyone kept referring to Azure as a male, and I think it was it Dak last week who was like, I don't know, could be a female. We don't really know yet, and so I was
Look
just
at
going to call it like good job on that, like considering the possibilities. You're like they might not be. They keep referencing it this way, but it could be.
I just started referring to them as they because that's what I tend to default to for people and characters I haven't met yet, just out of safety. And then it's like, well, I guess it could be a woman. We've never, we have his people's word to go on. It could be. I wasn't actually expecting that to bear fruit, but here we fucking are.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good chapters. I was a bit thrown. It's like I also was just like, another party. Really, we're doing this? Okay, sure, whatever. Again, I guess after Hero of Ages and like people literally partying while the world burned, like we shouldn't be surprised by this anymore. So that was interesting. I liked meeting Azure. Something has been bothering me about the name the whole way through, and then it wasn't until this week we were just in the car and driving around, and I realized that several times we pulled up next to, I think it was a Toyota Azure or something. Like, oh, that's why that word is so familiar to me. I just see it all the fucking time on cars.
Oh, never heard of this one. Interesting.
Yeah, that model, some models don't come to all countries. I don't think I've seen one of those in the US.
Yeah. But yeah, like interesting. I like how fanatically loyal her men are to her. I think that's really cool. I love the whole, you're a deserter, huh? You want some food? And he's just like, hey, what? So like that whole dynamic, and like they just basically adopt him on sight. I'm like, you guys don't want to even vet him first? Or nope, you're just going off the brand on his forehead. Okay, sure. Sooner or later, you guys are going to adopt someone who actually earned that brand. But, yeah. Like, good dynamic. I am confused by Azure herself, mainly in the blade thing. I'm just trying to figure out this blade, because Kaladin's like, ooh, interesting shard blade, but why doesn't she dismiss it? I'm like, okay. So maybe it's not a regular shard blade. What has she got? Because now that we know Nightblood is on the planet, I'm like, well, anything's possible. Like it could be it could be from anywhere. It could be an honor blade. Like Seth could dismiss his, couldn't he?
Yeah, he could.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, yeah. I'm just like, okay. That whole note and the fact that Kaladin noticed it made me think, okay, this is not a regular shard blade, if it's even a shard blade at all. There's got to be something different about this, but I have no idea what at this point. Again, like I've speculated, could be this person could be a ghost blood, so this could be a blade from another world. Like Moraes has got all his shit from other places, so
it's true. He's got a whole collection. Yep.
Yeah. So like, I don't know. Yeah. As far as Azure herself goes, I think another thing with the whole it's a woman thing. Like as much as there's the whole the argle-bargle over safe hands and women's places in society, with the whole, like, Lynn and all the women scouts in the army, I sort of forget, like, oh yeah, women can't serve in this military. I'd sort of forgotten that.
Yep.
Like, they could only have certain roles. So I guess that was another reason. I'm just like, I guess this could be a woman. And here we are. So, yeah. What else was there? Yes, the Dalinar flashback, cool. I think this is the start of seeing the Dalinar that we know and like come to the fore, which thank God, because I don't need another couple of chapters of Mr. Steak Cutty Man. And yeah, the Shallan bit. So the thing I was reminded of is a Deadpool comic where he was up against Bullseye, and Bullseye got him through the head with a bow and arrow, and he was stumbling around just like delirious for a bit. I'm like, don't know how to take this when a Sanderson novel is reminding me of a Deadpool comic.
It's all
Okay.
good, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. I guess that was before like the Deadpool comics really went to shit, but that's gonna get me attacked online.
I don't know if our audience are big Deadpool readers, but maybe.
You never know.
Yeah. But yeah, no, like the heist scene was really cool. But also it's like, really, we're doing this now? Like this, it seemed like a bit of a distraction from the again. Like we're in Kolinar. I'm like, all right, I want to see like the stuff of the Cult of Moments. I want to see the stuff with Azure on the walls and the stuff with the Voidbringers. And Shallan is heisting grain. Okay, it's like it was clever and it was like the way she did it was very interesting. But the whole time I'm just like, was this worth a chapter? But maybe it is. I don't know. So yeah. I think I'm just getting impatient with these books just because these ones are longer than the ones we've done before. I'm just like, all right, come on, let's get to the really good shit. So
They are quite a bit longer.
yeah, that's my flaw, not the books.
I mean, at least it's like we're moving towards learning about the Cult of Moments. It does feel a little bit like a fetch quest. Like, if you want to build your rep with this faction, you need to go out and get some grain.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get that it does feel maybe unnecessarily like convoluted, but it fits. It at least is consistent with what we've gotten so far. Where Hoyd's like, you gotta like stand out, and they like food, so go and food it up.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so I guess let's get into this chapter. Let's get into these chapters, y'all. Our first one was 69, free meal, no strings, which I think, yeah, it's exactly as advertised on the tin, basically. There was nothing weird about that one. We get another epigraph that is kind of interesting, although I feel like it's stuff that we already knew. The wilting of plants and the general cooling of air is disagreeable, yes, but some of the tower's functions remain in place. The increased pressure, for example, persists. And we know when they arrived at Urithiru in the modern day, there was in fact that increased pressure still from, they were way up in the mountains, but it was the air was. They called out the fact that the air is kind of normal here. It's not like hard to breathe like it is on top of other mountains. So kind of interesting stuff, but stuff we already knew. And Kaladin, as we come in to make at the start of this chapter, is running a little bit of a test because they know about these screamy spren things that if you try to use a fabrial, they show up and scream at you, and it draws the fused. We also know that when Shallan creates an illusion and disguises people, it does not have that same effect. So now we have Kaladin sitting out here, and he's like, I'm going to lash like a little pebble in some direction and see if that has any effect, if that draws attention. And boy, howdy, does it.
Yeah, it's a real scream fest.
Yeah, so like these vivid yellow spheres, like spren that it says, spren that look like vivid yellow spheres crackling with energy. Just like show up, and they are definitely screaming, which makes sense.
Golden snitch, but angry.
Could you imagine that would change the game of Quidditch quite a bit if the snitch screamed?
Yeah,
I think that would be
you'd just be like
on brand for the Harry Potter universe. But
yeah,
yes,
you'd
it would
be
make
like
things different.
it's right over there. It's screaming. You not hear it?
Much easier to find now. Yeah, those games would be very short.
Yeah, which also brought to question in my head the screaming, the whatnot, the mention about it. Shallan's disguises didn't pull it off, which for plot convenience is great, right? Because it's like, okay, her power is to be in disguise. So if it brought screaming spren towards you, probably wouldn't be a great disguise, right? So is that a power thing, or is it simply plot convenience because of the type of power that she has? I would like to know the explanation.
It does seem a little bit convenient, yeah. What we get in the chapter is Shallan says, Pattern says we're quieter. Our power is quieter than Kaladin's power, whatever that means.
AKA, it's written that way. I mean,
Yeah,
no,
I
I
mean-
I kind of get it, right? It's like her power's not well, it can be flashy. I should take that back, depending on what she's doing.
True.
But in this instance, her power's not flashy. It's just so that's the question, I guess. If she were to do something grander,
Oh
would
yeah.
that draw their attention, or is her power just a quiet power in general?
I guess like if you were to see someone
Makes
walking
me-
down the street, you see a person walking down the street, you don't necessarily see the power or the transformation. Where if Kaladin is lashing things to things and flying in the air, and
Yeah.
it appears that something is different, or it appears that something is unnatural. Whereas Shallan's is, at the moment, she's disguising things. Whereas if she was to start soul casting or whatever, that would probably attract attention.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's why he chooses that teeny little pebble, but no, I get what you're saying, Jamie. Like by the nature of his power, it attracts more attention.
Yeah, like he even says he barely put any stormlight into it, and it like dissipated almost immediately. And still, that was enough to draw these things in. So it is interesting. Thinking about like what if Shallan did something big and impressive makes me think of there's a character in the Dresden Files who specializes in illusion magic in some of the later books, and
Ooh,
has
don't
this-
spoil. Haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah, that's why I'm not getting specific about, just some wizard specializes, and that person can make really big, crazy illusions. Like one gets described as like being at a rave at one point.
Jeez.
And so I wonder if that would be, if they would notice that as magic, or if it's just like, what are those lights over there? That's weird. And so, yeah, basically what this is telling us is Shallan can use her powers, Kaladin not so much. I guess healing also doesn't draw attention because we saw Shallan heal from getting stabbed, and that didn't draw any screaming sprens. So, and so we cut to them preparing for a party. And Kaladin, being Kaladin, is like, really? A party? Like, the world is ending and rich people are going to freaking throw a party? Of course the Lighteyes would do something like that. And Scar and Drahe kind of call him out on it. Like, hey, Scar, you ever go drinking even when we're at war? It's like, yeah. And back in my village, we'd have a dance in the storm shelter twice a month. I assume during the high storm. So,
love this bit. Like
yeah.
these two just jumped a mile in my books, and it's like, oh fuck yeah, guys, you eat this shit up.
Yeah. It's like, don't be Moash, Kaladin. Come on.
And yeah, it does sound kind of like Moash, because sounds like, what, you're taking their side? Once again, forgetting that he is in fact light-eyed now. But,
Yeah.
It's like, didn't know there was a side, buddy.
Yeah.
Yep. And it's like, yeah, are we not past this already?
Yeah, right. And then Adolin shows up in his new suit. And Kyle's like, really, dude? Did we come to your tailor just so you could get a new wardrobe? It says he's wearing a powder blue suit with a jacket with like gold embroidery on it, which really does sound like, this is like zoot suit sounding territory to me, but I guess it's the fashion in Kholinar. And actually, I love the note that they get into it. Adolin and his tailor get into a discussion. He's like, oh, I've been getting these folios with fashion, and I thought that like these kind of coats were in fashion. And Yoksuka's like, oh no, the people in Leofor are like, those are so out of date. They've been selling them to the Shattered Plains just to like, get some money, pushing out of date fashion. And Adolin's like, oh my gosh, I had no idea how unfashionable I was being.
Yeah, they conjure you out of a clearance sale.
I love how dedicated Adolin is to this. It seems so superfluous, but he really cares about it, and we kind of like him. So it's like,
this is the part I don't like about him, though. Like, I'm like, come on, bro. Do you really need that in your life? You gotta be fashionable. You already got the girl. What do you need fashion for?
And then when Kaladin tries to call him out on how ridiculous he looks, he just turns it around. He's like, well, you look like what the storm leaves behind, but we like you anyway. Every boy has a favorite stick he found out in the yards after the rain.
Damn.
I love that.
Savage.
And then Kaladin Drahe and Scar start like chatting with Adolin, like, and they're talking about how they're going to go out drinking later. And Kaladin's got this moment. I'm picturing it with him like looking back and forth with his mouth agape. It's like, wait, you guys hang out? It's like, yeah.
You guys are friends, but those are my friends. And Adolin goes, well, yes, but Kaladin, we're also friends. We are.
Wait.
I don't think Kaladin ever goes out drinking with these guys. So really, they may be better friends with Adolin, honestly.
He did that one time, right?
One time,
Well,
yeah.
yeah, he went one time, and Moash used that as a recruiting exercise for him. So he's probably just like, "Nah, I'm not doing that again."
Yeah. I think honestly, it's like, and I think he kind of says it, right? Kaladin's such a military-minded dude because his whole professional career has been in that like he's like, no, you don't fraternize. That's not how it's done, man. That's not right. And I think maybe this is part of the downside of his powers. I feel like there's a rigidity to him. And I think that is an extension of the way his power works, right? Because
Interesting.
he has to be extremely rigid in holding up honor in order to continue to use his power. So like I think maybe this is part of that downside I was kind of talking about earlier, is like he has to be like his, although I say that Syl is very different, so maybe that's not true. Maybe
It's true,
maybe we'll run across a Windrunner who is fancy free, more of like a lift type, but like I don't know, it seems like it's almost a byproduct of him.
Lopin is at least a squire, and he's more of a lift type, I would say.
Yeah, I feel like the squires don't have as much. What's the
you
word?
might be right.
Maybe like
Responsibility.
not responsibility.
Or,
yeah, maybe not even that, but like obligation to the source of the power.
Mm-hmm. They get some more leeway. Yeah,
right.
That would make sense. They don't have a Spren looking over their shoulder.
Correct.
And yeah, and Kaladin does think he's like, Dalinar wouldn't like hearing that Adolin's like going out drinking with the men, but Adolin just gets away with stuff like that.
He sure does.
And okay, we get the first that seems genuinely friendly conversation between Adolin and Kaladin here, where Adolin's like, "Hey, why don't you let me teach you how to use a side sword? You're light-eyed, so it looks weird for you to be walking around without a sword." And Kaladin's like, "Maybe I'm one of those punchy guys." And Adolin's just like, "Did you just say punchy guys?"
That's such a good like. This is such a good. There's several good comic relief bits, but this one was probably my favorite of this set of chapters. It's like, yeah, punchy guy.
And hand to hand, Adolin's like, right, or punchy guys, as everyone calls them. And Kaladin's like, yeah, it's an academic term.
Or pugilist, one might say, if you wanted to be scientific about it.
And they keep going, like, Adolin's like swordy fellows or spearish chaps. And then Kaladin actually does a joke where he's like, I knew a real axolacious bloke. He was great at psychological fights. And Adolin takes the bait, like, psychological fights? Yeah, he could really get inside someone's head. And it's I feel like
Waka.
I feel like Shallan would have appreciated that more than Adolin, but Adolin does appreciate it. So
he's like, "Oh, I get it. Good one."
And he continues trying to convince Kaladin. He's like, "Look, even if you never use a sword, learning how to use a sword helps you fight against people who use swords because you know what they're thinking, how they're going to fight." And so, yeah, maybe Kaladin will allow it at some point. And I love he thinks that Adolin Kholin is just a good person. He was the only one who stood up for me when I got imprisoned. And this guy, he may look ridiculous, but he's a good guy.
He is.
I feel like Kaladin has known that for a while now, but this may be the first time that he's put it out on page like that. And so, yes, Adolin and Elhokar get to go into the main party. Kaladin, as the light-eyed captain of their guard, goes into the light-eyed guard tent, and Scar and Drehy get to go into the dark-eyed guard party. And so it's just like, wow, okay, I'm glad you guys brought someone from all the categories so you could cover it.
Yeah, we gotta party on, Garth.
I mean, you can't have the lower level lighteyes.
Like, what's the point of having all your guards with you if you're not even at the same party, effectively?
That's an interesting question, yeah.
I guess they have some kind of code of honor.
Mm. But yeah, I love just... You can't have the lower level lighteyes in the same party with the dark eyes. That would just be disrespectful, so...
It's not the same. They're not even close to the same Non.
Well, yeah, because Non is... Which one? Dawn is for light eyes, and Non is for dark eyes. So.
Oh, I don't think I'd ever made that connection.
No, I hadn't either.
Yeah, like...
Look, Data dropping the knowledge on us.
Adolin is like third Dawn, and Kaladin's family was like second Non. So yeah. I think that's right. Now I have to look, make sure I didn't mix those two up, but I know that one is for one and one is for the other.
What do you think? What do you think your Non would be there, Data?
Oh, I mean, I feel like it's actually pretty reliant on. Okay, Non is the caste system for the Dark Eyes, the counterpart to the Light-Eyed Dawn system. So the highest ones, the first and second Non, make you where you can even marry into a Light Eyes family. You're full citizens, full right of travel, all of that stuff. And so 10 is the lowest. I talking like slaves or maybe just above slaves. Yes, 10th Non are slaves and can be bought and sold. So I would hope that I would be higher than that.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to be that.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't want to live in the caste system to begin with, but if I had to.
True, yeah. But there's like one guy, a first Dawn, that is the reigning monarch, is the first Dawn. And then High Princes are second Dawn along with their direct heirs. So like Dalinar and Adolin are second Dawn. I guess Renarin would be third Dawn probably.
So if this system doesn't sound new. So before Gavilar, was there nobody at First Dawn?
That is a good point. I don't know.
Like maybe it was established under an old emperor regime or king or whatever you want to call it.
Didn't have that for a while. That's an interesting question, yeah. And we find out in this chapter, I think it's in this chapter, that like the guys that he goes to eat with here in a minute, they're all what he calls tenors, which is the 10th Dawn, the lowest level of Light Eyes, basically. So, but anyway, going back to the chapter, as Kaladin, he doesn't go straight to his section of the party. He decides to kind of walk around a little bit at first, get the lay of the land, and that's when a squad of soldiers comes up from the wall guard. They're patrolling near the wall here, and they're like, hey, you, deserter, I assume? And I love, he thinks in his head, like, damn, they're going to assume I'm a deserter. And immediately the guy says it. He's like, man, I should have just gone to the damn party.
Yeah, I also just love the whole scenario. He's walking on the wall with a spear and they're like, hey, you! Immediately it's like, oh, cover blown. Like,
good job, Kaladin. Yep.
Yeah, no like sneaking around at all. And I know we're about to jump into it, but like it also begs the question, like, why did his brand come back?
I was gonna say exactly that. Like, yeah, Shallan, he'd allowed Shallan to put an illusion over the brands this time, not like he wouldn't do before, and suddenly it's gone.
Yeah, and
why?
I think
we never know.
Right, I think we touched on this when they were doing the tattoos and stuff. It's like things wouldn't, or when he first like got Stormlight, it's like and healed. It's like, okay, well the brand's not going away. So it's got to be something ingrained inside him that keeps the Stormlight from working on it in that way. But I don't know what.
Yeah, because like you said, when he got the tattoos, like the Stormlight, quote, healed the tattoo and like shoved the ink out, basically. But the brands are still there.
Yeah.
Which, that's one thing. But then, not only that, like another Radiant can't even cover them up with an illusion for some reason. It's weird.
And yet she did before, right? When she made him look like somebody completely different. So it's like only when... So I have to wonder, like, I know I'm talking a lot about the powers today, but I feel like there's some really good, interesting information in these chapters about maybe hinting at how the powers work. So, like, is it when Shallan does her thing, we've seen her identity almost changes, right? So is she infusing them with some kind of identity change when she makes them look like somebody else? But because she didn't try to make Kaladin look like somebody else, she just covered something up on him. Is that the difference? His identity, no part of his identity changed by this like power usage.
Interesting possibility.
Because I can't think of why it would work before when he was made it to look like a super ugly old dude, and then it wouldn't work now.
When I got to this point for the first time, I think my thought was, did Kaladin somehow draw on Stormlight, like the Stormlight being used to power the illusion, and like that lost it? But that's an interesting idea that you have. That's deals with weird identity things.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they've kind of hinted at like investiture. It's almost weird because like as we've gone through these Cosmere books more and more, it's like the investiture is all different, but at some core level, it also seems the same.
Yep, a lot of similarities in some ways,
which makes sense, right? Because from our understanding, it all came from one central entity, right? And then it split off into different aspects. So I get it, but at the same time, I want to unravel the mystery. I gotta know.
But Kaladin's like, hey, I don't want any trouble. Now that they've discovered he's a deserter. And they're like, hey, want a meal? A meal? Yeah, free food for deserters. And he's like, okay. And then they notice the Shosh brand, and they're like, holy shit, a lighteyes with a Shosh brand? You gotta have a good story. Come on, free meal, no strings. We won't press you into service, I promise. And so he goes with them.
If I were Kaladin, I'd just be like, this has got to be a trap.
Right? It feels like a trap.
There's never no strings. What?
Yeah, no lunch is free in this world.
So we move on to the High Marshal Azure chapter, which mentions the sibling, capital S again, which Dak made a predicament about last time. But something is happening with the sibling. I agree this is true, but the division among the Knights Radiant is not to blame. Our perceived worthiness is a separate issue. So, okay. And so Kaladin heads back to their barracks with these guys, and he actually really likes this place. It reminds him of, where he feels like he's at home in an army. He's got the leather smell, the weapon oil, and their stew's not as good as Rock's, but he's like, I've been kind of spoiled by Horneater cooking at this point. The lieutenant is the guy who found him, was named Noro. Well, Noromin, but Noro for short. And he's like, oh, you guys got to see this guy, a deserter with a Shosh brand, Sadius mark on a lighteyes is crazy. And everyone's like, yeah, like he even gets cheers as he gets escorted in here.
It's like, even here, everyone is united by a hatred for Sadius, because fuck that guy.
And they ask him for the story, and he's like, I had a squabble with High Lord Amaram. I felt he'd gotten some of my men killed needlessly, and he disagreed. And one of the guys is like, wow, Amaram, you aim high. And another guy's like, oh, I know Amaram. I did secret missions for him back in my Black Ops days, basically.
They're like, shut up, Beard.
Yeah, they're like, just ignore Beard. It's what everyone else does. And there's a guy named Beard, but he doesn't have a beard. His hands are really hairy, but that's all. Like, I don't understand.
Maybe he was the beard for someone.
Jacks. Oh,
Yeah,
see?
he was someone's beard.
And so they're like, yeah, we're not going to press you into service, but I mean, isn't this place nice? You get all the good food, more food than you're probably getting out in the city. And I love that Beard has to jump in and be like, yeah, the bread is my recipe. And they're like, shut up, Beard. It's like, yeah, I learned the flatbread recipe from a Horneater mystic at the top of a mountain. And it's just like, oh my gosh, this guy. I feel like everyone has known somebody like this. Maybe not quite this severe, but like,
Like, Kaladin's just looking at this guy is your Lopin.
Oh, we have one of those.
And somewhere in Urithiru, the Lopin's just like
Yeah, he sneezes. He's like, huh, somebody's talking about me.
Like, Kaladin is feeling really at home here and like comfortable with these guys. And then at some point he realizes, wait a second, they're all lighteyes. Everyone in the room, from the cook to the armorers to the soldiers doing dishes. It felt so natural. I thought they were dark eyes.
Kaladin, you're lighteyes, so yeah.
Yeah. Well. And so they're trying to like give him, it's not really a hard sell, but they're persistent. Like, hey, don't you want to join up? Wouldn't it be great? And I love he's like, aren't you afraid that I'll desert or that I'm dangerous? And they're like, no, dangerous is good in this situation. You know how to kill people? Great. That's the job, to defend the city.
Make sure you kill the right ones.
Yeah. And he's like, maybe this is my chance to like learn a little more about this Azure person. So like, hey, tell me about your boss, your commander. Who is this High Marshal Azure? And they're like, oh, well, you can meet him. He's going to be here soon. They lost their former commander during the riots, and Azure is the one who stepped up and led a group up onto the walls to stop the Cult of Moments from seizing the gates. And someone was like, oh, I was there. We were almost overwhelmed, and then Azure showed up holding aloft a gleaming shard blade and rallied us. And Cal's like, oh, so Azure's a shard bearer, and maybe a foreigner from the way that this was described. He hadn't been previously known to the guards. So, okay. He, as we find out later, he's thinking, I may have located a Radiant. Like, this could be helpful for us. And sure enough, Azure shows up wearing an Azure cloak, a lighter shade than Kolian blue, but can't hold that against him or her, because it turns out Azure is a her.
Samus Aran.
With orange eyes and a side sword with a glistening silver basket hilt.
Yeah,
Have we ever seen orange eyes before?
I don't remember, honestly.
Yeah, and that's something I wanted to bring up because it's not something I paid attention to, and maybe I should have. Do the lighteyes just have like every shade under the sun? Like that's interesting to me. It's like
I
we've seen
believe they
violet,
do, yeah.
blue, yellow. Now we got orange.
I
like
think we've
it's
even seen like a brown, but like a light brown where it was a light eyes with brown eyes. So,
like super
Yeah,
chocolatey.
That was Moash, wasn't it, when he got the blade?
oh, I think you may be right. Yeah.
Oh, they were lightening up, becoming less brown.
Well, they were still brown, but they were more just like a light tan kind of thing rather than dark.
So, yeah, I think it can be like almost any color, but light. Yeah.
But like orange eyes, that just seems so
Yeah.
different.
I agree.
What's her face from Atlantis would be having a fit.
Yes, I forgot the orange hater. It's true. Kaladin's like, wait, the High Marshal's a woman? And Beard's like, we don't talk about the Marshal's secret. It's a secret. It's pretty storm and obvious.
Sandy's a girl? Nobody. Just me.
Mm.
Only I watch the SpongeBob.
I do not.
Was not a fan.
Oh, sigh.
And so she sits down, has some stew, and they introduce her to Kaladin to her, basically. And she's like, wait, a Shoshbrand on a light eyes? Storms, man, who did you kill? And in his mysterious way, he's like, it's not the one I killed that got me the brand, sir. It's the one I didn't kill.
He says as he like sweeps his fringe into his eye and cranks the Fallout Boy.
Am I more than you bargained for? Yeah. That's funny.
And so she's like, so you gonna join up? We have food. And he's like, I don't know. On the one hand, it's great nobody cares about my past, but on the other, you guys seem desperate, which makes me reluctant. Which fair, right? And they take him up on the wall, and they show him, like, look out there at the armies that are getting ready to attack us. And she even, like, she's really insightful here. She's like, let me guess. You joined up to fight on the Shattered Plains, but Sadeas used that army up north to funnel him veterans, and you found yourself fighting against, like, other Alethi. Damnation me if I blame a man for deserting that. I don't hold it against you, soldier.
I'll admit I'd never really considered up until she says this, but yeah, what the fuck? Like, we know that potentially the Ghostbloods were involved because of Hellerin and all that, but yeah, like there was a fucking war going on with the Parshendi on the Shattered Plains, and Amram and Sadeas just had dudes fighting their neighbors up north. What the fuck?
Yep. Well, we thought Hellerin was Ghostblood. It turned out he was a Skybreaker, so...
Oh, that's right. The Ghostbloods knew about... Yeah, sorry. I got my secret societies mixed up again because they're so
There's a bunch of people up there doing some weird stuff.
Yep.
But yeah, they were just fighting their neighbors, you're right.
It's all happening in the north. Maybe that's what we need to be concerned about.
Hmm.
They're hiding in the Pure Lake.
And so she's like, look at that.
That would be awesome.
That is a real Voidbringer army out there, Cal. Nightmares. If that were an Alethi force, we wouldn't have much to worry about. I mean, sure, they might kill people on the walls, but they're not going to burn the capital city. They want to take the capital city. These things, though, at best, they'll enslave everyone, and at worst... And she's like, I want you to think about that. And think about, like, if you don't join us, then think about the people up here fighting for you, and if they go down, then you'll die anyway. Up here, at least, you got a chance to fight. And at the end, he's like, man, that was a good speech, actually.
Yeah, she knows how to lay a guilt trip, that's for sure.
And then he's wondering, like, are my friends out there? Like, those Parshmen I made friends with? What about Saw's daughter, who liked collecting flowers? Like, what happened to them?
Don't worry, your old buddy Moash is hanging out with him.
Boy, you are not going to believe the coincidence.
And so eventually he's like, I'm going to think about it. And he leaves and goes back to where he's supposed to be. He's supposed to go to the party. And we end the chapter with Elokar being like, oh, what are you so thoughtful about? And he goes, I think I might have just found us another Radiant. And then we jump 11 years into the past with Dalinar flashback.
Is it, like, before we leave that, just like, no one else, you didn't actually go into the party, did you? No.
Kaladin doesn't do parties, okay? You know?
Yeah.
He literally had one job.
Yeah, he stands against the wall. He doesn't pay attention to anybody. Again, like Dax said, listen to some Fallout Boy. Just hanging out. You know, he's Squall in Final Fantasy VIII at the beginning. It's fine.
And so we cut back. Dalinar is heading to the Rift, Rathalis. They don't have enough boats for an amphibious assault, so they're going to have to go in kind of like they did before. And he's supposed to meet Sadeas' troops here. And they get there, and they get a scout report that, like, some people have just left, basically. And does it say at this point there was even a shard bearer with that group? I forget if that comes now or later, but he gets a disturbing report, basically, that kind of confirms what Gavilar was saying, that maybe another High Prince is involved here. And then I like that he makes an excuse to like go and sit in the cart with Evie so they can have a discussion, because he's starting to feel bad about what happened in the last section that we saw. And he's like, "Oh, I'm saddle sore." He's like, "Oh, well, you could go and talk to him." He's like, "No, I'm not actually sore. I just want to talk. Like, you got to let me have my little."
Let me save
excuses.
some face here, woman.
Yeah. And she's been praying like nonstop on this trip, and he's heard her crying. He thinks that like, oh, like our relationship is in serious trouble here. She says she's been praying for the heralds to soften his heart, and he's like, "Well, I'm here to talk, so I guess it worked." She's like, "No, not me, for the other your own countrymen that you're planning on killing." And like she kind of tries to talk him into having mercy of some sort. And he's like, "Well, mercy is how we got here in the first place, because I let that kid live." And she's like, "I hate what this does to you. I see beauty in you, Dalinar Kholin. A great man struggling against a terrible one. Sometimes you get this look in your eyes, this terrifying nothingness, and it scares her." And he's like, "I have no idea what she's talking about. This is some weird superstitious shit, but whatever." And he's like, "Okay, what do you want me to do?" And she says, "Don't kill today. Hold back the monster." And we find out that he actually kind of takes this to heart. And he says that he's going to go up and talk to them. He didn't actually say he's going to talk to him. He says he's going to ride up, like get his vanguard, and tell him, like, "Wait, don't you want to rest the army first?" And he doesn't respond. He's like, "Just do what I said, you know?"
And he's like, "Okay, guys, go." He's like, "We're about to fight, maybe."
But he rides up there, and he indicates that he wants to parley. And Tanalan, the kid from way back when, who's now the new leader here, he actually comes out, and he's like, "What do you want?" And he says, "Walk with me. I promise not to harm you unless I am attacked first." And they kind of walk off together. And he's like, "Look, I'm not usually the talker, but let me lay this out for you. You know what I can do. Have I ever lost a battle? Like, you know what's going to happen here. But maybe we can come to an accommodation." And Tanalan's like, "An accommodation? You killed my father." And Dalinar's like, "Yeah, and someday a man's going to kill me, and my sons will hate him just as much as you hate me. But I hope they don't throw away thousands of lives in a hopeless battle because of that grudge."
Points, Dalinar. Good points.
And he's like, "Look, if you hate me that much, fine. Let's duel. And if I win, you guys surrender peacefully." He's like, "What if I beat you? Will your armies leave?" And Dalinar's like, No. They'll probably just fight all the harder. But you won't have to worry about me. And you'll have your father's blade back, so who knows?" And Tanalan kind of starts steering the conversation in another direction, like, "Hey, you know those loyal high princes of yours? There's a traitor in there." And Dalinar's like, "Yeah, I'd be surprised if there weren't several, but we know one of them has been working with you." And he's like, "Yeah, you missed them just an hour ago." And then Tanalan's like, "You know, your offer's appreciated, but I don't see any way that we can do this unless all of this was really a ruse all along, and your brother and I and you have been scheming this false rebellion to smoke out disloyal high princes. Maybe I was feigning outrage this whole time, and we've been in contact all these years. You did spare my life after all." And Dalinar's like, "Yeah.
This guy's a crafty bastard."
That's pretty well thought out, doesn't it?
Right?" He's like, "That would explain why Gavilar didn't send armies here immediately, way like several years ago, right?"
Sounds like a Sadeas thing to say, though. That's the only issue.
It seems very practiced for something that's, you know, effectively off the cuff.
Mm-hmm.
It is kind of a convoluted thing to have come up with just out of nowhere. You're not wrong. And so he's like, maybe they can come to a deal here. And Dalinar goes, "Okay, which high prince is it?" And he hedges at first, but then he's like, it's Sadeas. And Dalinar's like, "What? That's impossible." And he's like, "Well, yeah, maybe you want to see for yourself."
I feel like I think this is this is what makes me think it's bullshit, just because, you know, from what we see of Sadeas in the future and Dalinar's relationship to him, if Sadeas had betrayed him here, I don't see how he would have been so willing to team up with him again after Gavilar died.
100%. That's what I was saying at the start of the show. Like, there's another shoe that's gonna drop on this. Like, there's something's afoot. Get it?
Yeah.
Shoe drop. Afoot.
Yeah. Unless, like maybe Tanalan really did just make up this all on the fly. Huh. Dalinar's not being his usual self. Maybe I can, maybe I can use this to my advantage.
Yeah. I think it also likely that Sadeas actually is behind it, and while Tantalin is telling the truth, he was told to do so by Sadeas, so that then there could be like
Ooh,
a double cross at some point.
double.
So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
And so they agree that like Tanalin's going to let some of Dalinar's soldiers come in and join the walls with him, like not displace his people, but they'll jointly, take control of the city basically. And Dalinar is going to chase after these soldiers that left here not long ago. And he sends a message back. He tells Evie, send a message to my brother. We may have brought the rift to our side without bloodshed, and tell him not to trust anyone. One of our closest allies may have betrayed us. I'm going to find out. And that's where we end there. So, yeah, if it had been anybody but Sadeas, you maybe could have bought it as Tantalin is being complete. Everything is on the up and up here. But because we have seen the relationship with Sadeas in the future, it immediately makes the whole thing a little suspicious.
Yeah.
Like that,
Also,
that's not by accident.
Yeah. Also, I have a question about this, just because I genuinely don't recall. Tanalan, have we seen him in the present day section at all? Even mentioned?
Nope, I don't believe so.
Yeah. Okay.
He probably did.
Last chapter that we did starts with the Edge Dancers are too busy relocating the tower servants and farmers to send representatives to record their thoughts in these gemstones. So I guess we're not going to get any Edge Dancer thoughts. I'll do it for them. They are the ones who will be most displaced by this decision, referring to the farmers and servants. It's like the Radiants will get taken in, like they're useful, but what about all these people that now have no homes? And we are with Vale. And essentially what has happened here is Vale and Vatha and Ishna, and is Gaz here? I think Gaz is here. They've got a plan, because Hoyd told her she needs to get some food. That'll draw the attention of the cult. And so who has food? The rich people have food. So we're going to do something about that. And the chapter's called Rockfall because this like mansion is called Rockfall. And so they are going kind of undercover. Like Ishna is talking to the mistress of Rockfall, whose name is Nananov. So I understand why Jamie was like Nanaton or Natanon,
Yeah.
but yeah. And this woman is kind of insufferable. Like Ishna's pretending to be a rogue merchant here, and this woman's like, "You'll make them match the others. I won't stand for them being even a shade off. When you return with the repaired rugs, I'm going to set them beside the ones in the other rooms to check." I was like, yes, okay.
I get it.
These rugs were woven in Shinovar. They made by a blind man who trained 30 years. It's like, yeah, you've told me this 3 times now.
Also, like, what a ridiculous thing to own.
Yeah, well, rich people, Oh no, Red is the other one who's here, right? Because Red, it said he'd have been excused to visit the privy, but would be missed if he was gone too long. So he has to rejoin Ishna here. But all of this is a smokescreen to like get them in the door, basically. And let's see, she has a conversation with Vatha, and Vatha's like, "I'm still amazed you're both Shallan and Vale. You guys don't act anything alike." And she's like, "Yeah, that's the point. I wish I'd picked it out myself. I like Vale." Well, she's like, "Not me? No, you're my boss. I'm not supposed to like you."
I love that. It's just like, I don't like my boss. No.
I love the next line is straightforward if rude. At least you always knew where you stood with Vatha.
Like, you're my boss. I'm not supposed to like you. Oh, we should get that on a mug.
And he's not loving this. And she's like, "What? Come on. This is fun. Admit it. You're enjoying it." And he's like, "My hands are shaking. I swear every noise makes me mean somebody spotted us. I feel sick." And she's like, "Yeah, see? Fun." And she changes her disguise to look like Nananov. Oh, no, I'm sorry. She makes the sound. She uses light waving to make the sound of Nananov calling her guards. But yes, she does actually disguise herself here. And she really just calls, like, that's one of the guards or whoever bows to her. She's like, "That's your bow. I could cut off your legs at the knees. Then maybe you're properly penitent."
Oh, boy.
Like, this lady's mean.
I love
or at least this version.
I love this next part where she's like, "Go stand on the roof for an hour," and he's like, "Look, she's mean. She's not crazy."
Yeah, it's like she has a reputation for being difficult, not insane. And
Yeah.
she's
Go
like,
stand
"Shut
on
up."
the roof for an hour. I also like the fact that the guy kind of takes it. He objects, But he kind of also takes it in stride. He's like, I guess it's not that much of a stretch for my mistress to go
He
ask me to
just
stand on.
goes.
Yeah, he's like, I guess it's not that much of a stretch for my mistress to go ask me to stand on a roof for an hour.
She's not that
I
far
guess
off.
technically it's a break.
Yeah, it's a break, right? And then like she gets too into character basically, and Vatha calls her out, and like, you could stand there and supervise, or you could help us get the grain loaded. And she's like, yeah, I'm sorry, that woman's head is a frightening place.
Just,
then-
from Vatta's perspective, he's just got to be like, I don't know what the hell she's talking about, but we got to get out of here.
Vatha says, I mean, I said Nananov is notoriously difficult, and Vale goes, yeah, but I was talking about Shalon.
Yeah, that's the part where you're like, what?
And then at some point, like they're about to make their getaway, and all of a sudden she sees anger spren like boiling through the floor from where they've just taken all of the food, and Vale's like, run, and they have to take off.
Cheese it!
And like, I know that's like commonplace on this planet, but the description of that is just so fucking freaky to me.
Yeah, it is.
You're not wrong.
Like, it's like, oh no, the floor is angry. Get the fuck out! The floor is lava.
The floor is
Floor's
lava.
And Nananov comes out as they're getting away. It's like, stop thieves! And Vatha's like, Shalon, Vale, whoever you are, they have crossbows. And she starts to do, what does she do? She's swirling Stormlight. It's like she's about to do something.
Yeah, I got really confused during this section about what was going on.
And Nananov is like, what are you idiots doing? Because the guards stop. And then she looks, and Shalon is wearing her face again. And it's got everything down, like right down to the attitude. Even managed to make like her own anger spren pop out. Or maybe she faked the anger spren. I don't know. And then it's like she lets the image distort, and the features like start sliding off her face, like dripping paint running down.
So creepy.
And ordinary Nananov screamed and fled back towards the building, which I could see why you would do that if you saw yourself like melting.
That's fair. That's some Cronenberg shit.
And then one of the guards hits her right in the head with a crossbow bolt. And
I love that reaction. Like, just shoot her in the face. Like, ah!
I mean, yeah, I might.
Then her reaction, like, the bolt took her right in the head. Bother.
Yeah, it's like a paragraph by itself, that one word. It's great.
Yeah. Kill it with
Oh,
fire!
bother.
Oh, damn, I got hit in the face. All right.
And then she's like, as I think Jamie mentioned, like she's slurring her words, like, please open the gate, Vatha. Like, she's the crossbow bolt sticking out of there.
Still having fun,
Doing my
Vatha?
Sean Connery impression.
Yeah. Varta, open the gate, old lad.
And I love Vatha is like, Red's like, Vale, that crossbow bolt, the blood is staining your outfit. And she's like, I was gonna throw it away anyway. I've got a new outfit almost ready. And then eventually she only takes it out because she's like, man, that is getting annoying. And she's like, I need some help, guys, getting this thing out.
Part of me was wondering, it's like, is she just going to leave it in just so she can freak Kaladin out?
Shows back up. It's like, what's wrong with your face? It's like, stuff happens.
But then
She walks in and goes, I've got a great idea for your next disguise, Kaladin.
Oh, that'd be good.
as they proceed out into the city, she notices all the hungry people, and she's like, I got all this food. But I mean, infiltrating the cult is way more important than feeding a few people, right? Right? And there's a note from Wit. I'm still trying to get in contact with the cult's higher-ups. Everyone I talk to merely says do something to get their attention. I would, but I'm certain that violating the city's indecency laws would be unwise. And so she's like, oh, okay. So they want something to get their attention. All right. And basically, they go out into the town and they find, like, she meets back up with that kid from before that she got information from. Grund is his name. Gives him a sack of food and it's like, who else do you know that could use some food? And he mentions a couple of people, I think, that could really use some extra food. And she's like, okay. And then they give away all the food. Not all of it. She lets Vatha keep the sausage that he's eating. But that's her idea to draw attention, is ride around giving away food. Which, I don't know, might be effective. But that's the end of our chapters. Let's move into predicaments. We are doing an additional 4 chapters for next time. So that's going to be 73 through 76. And the titles of those are 73 is Telling Witch Stories. Not witch, like with a T, witch, W-H-I-C-H. So telling which stories. 74 is Swift Spren. 75 is Old Red. And 76 is An Animal. So there you go. Predicaments. What do you guys think is going to happen? Where are we going based on the stuff that we've seen now?
Okay. Chapter titles. I don't know. I'm hoping we get another Dalinar flashback in here. I sort of hope to see those come a little bit quicker together, but I'm not sure which one that might be. Predicaments. Okay, so we're talking about, because we've seen Dalinar and Sadeas's relationship, that we don't think that Sadeas would be involved in, betraying everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of went the opposite direction. It would not surprise me at all if Sadeas was on Team Sadeas and not Team everyone else. I think it probably circles back to what memories we're going to unlock now with Dalinar and remembering his wife. I think that somehow Sadeas had something to do with Evie's death. I think it stems from whatever's happening with the rift. And I think that maybe Dalinar seeking out the Night Watcher? Is that what her name is?
Yeah.
Yes. Maybe Sadeas orchestrated it. Maybe there's something that, Dalinar's blaming himself for Evie's death, but Sadeas knows something else. And if Dalinar can forget those details, then he's home clear. So I think that we could see something come out about that. And I think then maybe that will tie into the Sadeas murder plot. I know Adolin killed Sadeas not knowing certain information, but those two never got along. Sadeas wouldn't know, who knows what about anything. And he was always kind of, he ultimately betrayed Dalinar anyway, right? It's not a stretch to go, yeah, he was going to betray somebody some way for Team Sadeas. So maybe it'll come out that, Dalinar will learn what actually happened. Adolin may confess to killing Sadeas, and then somehow they'll cover it up or something. I don't think Adolin will see penalties over necessarily what happened to Sadeas, but I think if he was involved in his mother's death, then I think they would cover it up. I know it's a bit vague, but I think that's where that's going. I'm gonna take a leap and do a bit of a bolder prediction than normal. So let's see how that one pans out. The other one, and we talked a little bit about Squires this week, but to be able to see more of a Lightweaver, we know that Kaladin has Squires. Could not other Radiants have Squires as well? And if we could, then maybe I would like to see Shallan end up with some Squires as well, to be able to learn a bit of the light weaving ability, but also how does it affect them? And I think it was Dak raising a point of not having such a big tie to the power with like the Bridge 4 crew. They're able to the abilities, but it's like they're not as linked to it. So I wonder if it would be something similar. But we got a couple of possibilities for the light weaving. It could be like Vale's crew, or we could have the broader crew. Like it would be cool to see, if Adolin effectively could become a Squire, being so close to someone using the powers. Just a thought. I don't know which direction it would go, but that would be cool. That would be something I'd like to see.
That would be interesting. I wonder how Adolin would take to being like having that power. Would he just use it to make himself more fashionable, or?
Oh, there you go. That's the way to do it.
It seems like a good use of your radiant abilities. Yeah. But
imagine if she did, if like her closest, her crew started getting these powers, then that means that Gaz might end up with these powers, and Dak might be unhappy about that.
Probably.
Yeah, that is a fun idea. We know that not all of the orders had Squires, but we don't know which ones did, other than the Windrunners. So yeah, it could easily be Lightweavers as well. That could prove real interesting. I agree.
Maybe Gaz would be a more pleasant guy if he was able to heal his eye with Stormlight.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Or maybe just more insufferable.
Twice as insufferable. It was the eyes all along.
He's like, now I got 2 eyes. I can do anything.
How insufferable is directly proportionate to the number of eyes he has.
Yeah, he uses his Lightweaver power to like manifest 10 eyes on his face. He's like, look at me now.
Man, imagine a blind Lightweaver.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
Kind of makes me think of like Green Lanterns.
Oh yeah.
Was there a blind Green Lantern?
There was one who lived out in the dark so much, like he couldn't see, so like he had to use it for like sound-based things.
I know Kyle Rayner got blinded by a Batman thing in Tower of Babel, and then he was like, I can't do my lantern stuff.
Classic. Tower of Babel. That's a good one.
Man, where are we going for these chapters? I think because we've had references, I know I'm jumping ahead to one of the chapter titles. I think because we've had reference to Dalinar as an animal, possibly the animal chapter is a flashback for Dalinar, which if things come to a head at the Rift, if another shoe drops, it seems likely to me that we could see Dalinar the animal. So that's something that I would maybe expect to see out of this one.
Okay.
I'm really not good at these chapter titles, so I can't really think of anything else, especially that first one, like the witch questions. I'm like, or witch stories. I'm like, what? So I don't know, man. I'm just gonna take the ride on that one. Where are we going? Yeah, I still think there's something more insidious going on with Azure. Don't know what. I like some of the thoughts that other people had, like Honor Blade or something like that. But Honor Blades can be dismissed, although we don't know if all Honor Blades work the same. And so that the really interesting part about that would be like, where did she get it? Because they're all supposed to, like, I think most of them are supposed to be in Shinovar, I think, right? Is that what we understand?
Yeah, that's what we have been led to believe.
Right. And then, yeah, I don't know. Something about her just seems wrong. Not sure what it is. Maybe it's because it's like, oh, there's this big secret, High Marshal Azure, and like the fact that it's a woman, like that's not a big secret to me. Of course, I don't live in their culture, but again, it's like that's no big deal to me. So like I feel like there's something else that's got to be going on, but I can't think of what it would be. So, but yeah, I want to feel like there's something more insidious going on with her. Not sure what it is. So maybe that will be revealed. Shallan meeting with the Cult of Moments. I feel like Shallan is our secret society gal. I feel like she gets in deep with the societies. So it would be funny if at one point she was just a member of almost every society except, like, you know, it wouldn't make much sense for her to be a member of the Diagram or the or Amaram Society or whatever, but you never know. So yeah, Cult of Moment stuff, I want to see kind of where that goes. Could be potentially interesting if she would like somehow kind of wiggled her way in there and became a member. Other than that, man, I don't really know. There's not a lot. As even though there was some story progression here, I don't know overall what's happening. You know, the only Dalinar piece we got in here this week was a flashback. So, you know, that'll play a role in as much as getting more backstory, but not sure where we're headed on the Dalinar end this week. But that's all I got. I know that's not a lot this week. Sorry.
Okay. An animal chapter title, that was that sounds like some pretty solid reasoning there. I mean, just in this section this week, she was like, you know, sometimes it's like you're an animal, so
right,
that could work.
Yeah.
Oh, I really love this idea that Shallan is just going to be secret society girl and start joining up all the secret societies. That would be amazing. I hope she doesn't need like a completely new personality for each secret society she joins, because that would get hard to keep track of. But
she's fine.
It's I love this concept. I want to see it now.
She can just be Nanavav and like Nananavav. I don't know how to say this lady's name. She can just be her and like bully her way into all the societies.
It's like, I'm part of the society now.
Like, wait, what? All right, whatever you say, ma'am.
That'd be great.
I feel like for once I actually have something for one of the chapter titles. You said there was one called Only Red.
1 second. Let me go back to them.
I think you said
yes, Only Red.
Cool. That's got to be a Shallan chapter, and that does not bode well for her little buddy Red. Like,
okay, fair.
Did anyone die? Only Red.
That would be mean.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like Shallan or Vale or whoever. Fuck, maybe Radiant comes out, or maybe Nananav comes out, and just like you know, they're kind of actually just very brusque towards Shallan's lackeys. Or, you know, maybe that's something that Vatha says, and it's like, it was only Red.
Also mean, but from Vatha, I buy it. Yeah.
Yeah. as for where we're going, yeah, I don't know what to make. I think I've said before. I think Azure is part of one of the other secret societies, but God only knows which one at this point. But my big prediction is related to the Dalinar flashbacks. So yeah, I think the fact that Tanalan has not been seen or mentioned in the present day stuff, that's our tip off that he's not making it out of this alive. So I think while there might be a traitor, I don't think it's Sadius for reasons we've outlined. I think Tanalan is just pulling a fast one. I think he's trying to lure Dalinar in with falsehoods so that he can kill him when his guard is down, avenge his dad, get the sword back, and what have you, because Tanalan thinks that that'd be far easier than killing him in battle. So like, he sees the opportunity to try and work some subterfuge, and just Littlefingers, it's like, oh, I can make something of this. Let's just play some speed chess and and get it in this way. But then it turns out, while that might be easier than killing Dalinar in battle, it still doesn't mean it's actually easy. And I think just Dalinar will be so pissed. He's like, I tried to give you the easy way out where no one died. And then that brings the thrill back, and Dalinar just fucking obliterates Tanalan and the Rift in the process. Just like, burn it all down, boys. Which will then have the roll-on effect. I think, yeah, maybe we've all been thinking a bit too grand for what happens to Evie. I think that just as a result of Dalinar, like, just burning the Rift down, Evie will just fucking leave. Like, she's just like, no, done with you, fucking done. And like, and she can't take the boys. Maybe she tries to take Renarin, but Gabalar won't allow it, and she just disappears. And then like sometime later, some other place, like they just get a notice saying Evie's dead, and Dalinar is just so haunted by the fact that they never reconciled, and like he drove her away, that maybe he goes to the Night Watcher to say, I don't want to think about this.
Interesting.
Well, and the thing that makes me think all this is like Adolin and Renarin don't seem to worry about their mum too much. So if she's just left and she went and died somewhere else in the world, like they probably wouldn't ascribe too much to thinking about it and concerning themselves about it or blaming anyone for it. So that makes me think, yeah, she wasn't around when she finally passed away.
Interesting. That would definitely be different from the kind of thing that we've been thinking so far. You're right.
Yeah, I just think something a bit more ignominious might actually be, and then because it's so ignominious, that's ultimately why Dalinar is so broken up about it. Like, he had every chance to try and fix it and didn't, and she just died an absolutely mundane death somewhere else out in the world.
Yeah, that would be. And I was gonna say also, if that's true, if it's like she dies off screen, basically, then that opens up the possibility for she's not really dead and she could pop up again somewhere.
That is also true.
Which is definitely an interesting possibility for like story in the future.
Oh fuck, Evie, Odium's champion.
I wouldn't expect that for sure. Yeah. Okay.
It's like Odium's like, and here's my champion, and like, and she just steps out of the shadows and says to the boys, "Hello, boys, Mummy's home."
Oh man,
this is fucking awful.
That would be. Wow.
So
yeah,
bad.
You would not see that coming at all.
Man, Dak, you want to write this book, or that sounds pretty cool to me.
That's off you, Dak.
I kind of want to see it now. Yeah.
High Marshal Azure is Evie.
Whoa!
Oh shit!
Nah, she's too young, right?
I don't know.
Different color hair, also, but I guess you can dye that or something.
Maybe she went to the Night Watcher and did the same deal Lift did. I wish to grow no older.
Okay, no, I want to see Evie is Odium's champion. That's the official Dak prediction. I want to see it. Let's do like one or two emails, and then we got a new patron this week, and then we'll wrap up here. We've got some longer emails, so we might just do one. This email is from Gustav, who I think we got one from not terribly long ago, but it's titled "A Daughter Disobeys." And Gustav says, "Hi crew, I'm currently listening to the end of your Middle Edge Dancer episode, whilst I'm 240 odd pages into Oathbringer. The end of Words of Radiance was crazy shit, and featured one of my favorite Cosmere lines of dialogue, as you can tell by the email subject. The Stormfather saying he has to leave because, quote, a daughter disobeys, had me running around my room in anticipation for Kaladin finding the words he needed to say. The whole action sequence was amazing, and I tend to agree that it would be awesome in an anime style. as I fear anyone other than HBO would screw it up. Keep the Cosmere the fuck away from Netflix, that's for sure. As you guys are discussing emotional moments, I think I bawled like a baby when Wayne died. Even if he was the most annoying, quote, little brother anyone could have, it still hit hard. Some more positive emotional moments, I would say for me, have to do with some of Kaladin and Sazed's personal triumphs in the books wherever they occur. Gotta say shout out to Cal going back to Hearthstone, eating his soup as everyone squabbles, dusting himself off, and then having his look at me, I'm a captain now moment. Think that would be good as a cinematic moment. LOL at Loral's face when she realizes Kaladin was actually familiar with the royal family. Also, I love that I kind of called the Kaladin shard spear thing happening. It's really cool that the shape of the blades can change. I think when Shallan's retracted a little when her and Cal were trapped in the chasms, I was thinking at the time that I was on the right track that he would get his blade. That's right, Gustav is the one who's like, it'd be cool if he had like a shard spear, but that'll never happen. So, he made it. Speaking of those chasms, I can't help but think that with some of the foreshadowing that's happening with this love triangle, that somehow Adolin killing Sadeas will end up driving a wedge between he and Shallan, and then that's where she'll end up with Kaladin. Hopefully that doesn't happen, because it would be too melodramatic for me in a way. I'd rather they all just have a friendship dynamic like Aang, Katara, and Sokka, with Cal being the weird brother. I mean, Aang and Katara did get together.
It's true.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. He just wants them to be like the power trio. Like,
okay.
Like no romance for Kaladin in that triangle, and that's fine.
As I've just gotten past Baby Break 3, congrats to Jamie and Dak for their newborn. By the time my probs catch up with the episode, maybe someone will elicit Baby Break 4.
No, I don't think so. What about you guys?
We are very firmly
Zero
not having any more.
0% chance of more children on our end.
Yep.
I also like that this illicit is written with I, like illicit, which just makes it seem like shady and like
Illegal baby.
yeah, someone's gonna steal a baby for Baby Break 4.
Definitely not.
We
Not doing
oppose
that.
the Sanderlanches official stance is also stealing babies bad.
Yep.
Don't do
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Children stealing bad.
Mm-hmm.
I know that's a controversial stance, but
Right, yeah. As all of our
all the
major
twisting
stances
going
are.
on here.
P.S. Whilst drafting this email, I'm listening to Edge Dancer episode 3, and I feel like I may have noticed a hordling in Words of Radiance. There was a point where Syl was super interested in a crumbling crawling around, which distracted her from what Cal was saying. I think that was one of them. Anyway,
what's
long email.
a hordling? Is that a thing?
It's one of the little kremlings that are
people.
really part of the big.
Did we know
Kremling-
that term before? I don't recall it.
I have no idea. I don't recall. I feel like maybe he did say that word when he was talking about making ones for different things, but I don't remember for sure. Anyways, long email again. I suppose I can talk for England when it comes to these books. Take care, all, and may we always protect those who can't protect themselves. Kind regards, Gustav.
Talk for England?
Yeah.
That must be an expression. I've never heard it, but it must be a thing.
But now I'm going to have to real quick go to Arcanum and see if that word was in there. No, I don't want to go.
I thought you were going to say you're going to go look up Talk for England. I'm going to look that up while you look that up, that other thing.
No, maybe it wasn't in there. Maybe that's not even an actual phrase. I just understood what he was saying.
Yeah, the phrase talk for England is a British idiom meaning to talk a lot or do something to an excessive degree. Often implying that the person is speaking a great deal. It is a figurative expression where the amount of intensity is exaggerated to the point of being for England.
That's hilarious. Okay.
There you go.
I like this example. He eats for England when there's a party.
Okay.
I mean, I guess it makes sense. Like you're talking for the entire country. Like it's a lot. Significant.
We have several more emails, but I think we'll just stop on that one today and save some of these for later. So if you've sent us an email and we still haven't gotten to it, no, I'm keeping track. We're just portioning them out a little bit. We do have one new patron this week, and let me pull them out here. It is, I'm on the wrong tab. At the Shard of Adonalsium level is Zach with a Q, Z-A-Q. Zach.
Nice. Shard of Adonalsium level. Thank you, Zach. You are a sparker, my friend.
Very nice. Sparker is that's the mental speed one, right? I like that one.
It's good.
I don't know that we've ever seen anyone use that, but I've always felt like it could have some really interesting potential uses.
Yeah, I imagine Say's probably used it,
Yeah, maybe.
Without like explicitly saying like I'm using this power. Because remember,
Right.
at first he was super coy about like his power because he had to be.
I wonder if you could like combine it with like the power of taking memories out of your metal mind to just like read through books super fast or something.
Yeah, I mean that would make sense, right? Like he probably read and absorbed things really fast to then store them. Makes sense.
Maybe. I hope we see that at some point. Brandon recently released at least part of what is theoretically the first chapter of this next era of Mistborn books. So I listened. Well, I read that and then listened. He read it at a convention, and it's got some interesting stuff. So someday we will have that to look forward to. Well, thank you, Zach, for joining the Patreon. I hope you are enjoying the stuff there. If anyone wants to send us an email, the address is thesandralanch@gmail.com. And if you want to check out our Patreon, I am still posting my reactions to my first reading of Wind and Truth. So we're maybe approaching the end of that finally. It's been going on for quite some time. We've still got 9 weeks worth of those to go up, but we're getting there. I'm up to chapter 125 on the next one. So slowly but surely. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, check out our Patreon. You can also find us on Instagram and Blue Sky, although I haven't posted on Blue Sky in a while. And Facebook, other places on the interwebs. Check that out. Remember, for next time, we are doing 4 more chapters. So if you're following along, that's chapter 73 through 76 that we'll be reading for next time. So read those. Or don't. Whatever. I'm not the boss of you. But thank you all for hanging out with us. Music by Miracle of Sound, and Wasing to the Time of Next. Colo, P.S. Fasher. Crab at thee.
Coronas wide, supernovas die, fractured in the fateful fall of man. Feel the heart raging of a strength unseen, unity will bring the upper hand. So look to the break of dawn.